What's happening, everybody? Trey here, joined by my dad Sean, and today reactions to the classics. We are up to 1992 in our top 5 albums by year draft series. Been a great series so far. It started back in '65 and have been going year by year, so you can check out the playlist of all the years if you want to do that.
Exactly.
But up to 92, Dad. Some of my favorite albums of all time in this year, actually. I don't know if that's the case for you.
It is not, but that's okay.
But no, should be a good time.
Yeah, it should, guys. And if you don't know how this works, we draft, we just trade off back and forth. Trey's going first. I get picks 2 and 3. He gets 4 and 5, and so on. So Trey, we might as well get after it,
dude. Well, let's do it, man. A album that is my favorite grunge record of all time, and we actually have a review up of it. I did last year as well, but it is going to be Alice in Chains' Dirt record, their second album, coming after Facelift in 1990. Sold over 5 million copies, and man, this is a record that really hits home for Lane Staley in particular,
right,
with the subjects that he was talking about. Just a very kind of a dark record in a sense, and you can tell that by the album cover right there. Lane definitely talking about his drug use, depression, mental state of mind, and addiction, but those are contrasted with the heavy riffs by the legendary Jerry Cantrell. Love the guitar work on this record, and it's just a very heavy record that I enjoy. My favorites: Wood, one of the great closers of all time; Rooster, Rain When I Die is fantastic, amongst many others. But that is taking my number one spot for today.
Well, that's a good pick, Trey. My number one spot was kind of a no-brainer for me, but I'm going to have some eclectic albums on here. So I have a feeling you're probably going to win this year, which I didn't mention at the start. Pay attention. Let us know in the comments below when it's over with. Share your top 5, and also let us know who you thought won. I'm going with R.E.M. Automatic for the people.
I think that would be most people's one for this year. Yeah.
Eighth studio album. John Paul Jones even jumps on here, does some string arrangements. Only went to 2 in the U.S., 1 in the U.K., 6 singles, sold 18 million copies. It's got Man on the Moon, one of my favorite R.E.M. songs, an underrated song, I do believe. Night Swimming, Everybody Hurts. Peter Buck, Mike Mills, and most critics view this as their greatest album. I don't quite, actually. I think Murmur's better, but, I'm splitting hairs there. My second choice, going with the Lemonheads.
Oh, there you go.
It's A Shame About Ray. It's their 5th studio album. Title track is great. Evan Dando dominates vocals, guitars. He writes every song on here. Very consistent throughout. So that's going to be my theme for my picks almost. There's not a ton of standout songs on a lot of mine. It's just the whole album in itself. The vibe is great. What do you got as your number 2 pick?
For the Lemonheads, I remember it being quite catchy too. It's been a while since I listened to it.
Yeah, it's an excellent. I was very surprised.
That was a good shout. But for me, man, you didn't steal what was easily going to be my number 2. Rage Against the Machine.
I figured it would be
another debut. I'm gonna have a couple debuts on my list. But man, again, talking about an album cover that just kind of reflects the music. We got I can't remember the gentleman's name, but I think back in the 60s he set himself on fire, and so there you have it on the front, man. Rage Against the Machine obviously gonna have a lot of intense, politically charged lyrics here.
They are.
And of course that steering guitar by the great Tom Morello, passionate vocals and rapping of Zach De La Rocha, and Rage do such a great job of blending rock, metal, funk, rap all into one without it kind of coming across as cheesy and corny, which I think a lot of bands did as we get later into the 90s, so to speak. But some of the band's best tracks are on here, such as Killing in the Name, Bomb Track, Know Your Enemy, and Take the Power Back.
It's an excellent album, man.
And I'm gonna go now to a gentleman that's appeared on our list dating all the way back to the 70s, but one of his best works in my opinion here. Also got a review of this one up. Tom Waits' Bone Machine, his 11th record, a masterclass of diversity, emotion, accompanied by just great musicianship throughout. A lot of captivating stories, as you'd expect with Mr. Waits here. Death's around the corner on almost every song right here.
Yes,
it was just a dark year, I guess, in 1992.
It was, man.
With my picks as I'm looking here. And the track listing's really structured well too. Nothing really gets boring. And Waits may have saved his best work for his darkest. I know you're not as high on this record.
I'm not.
As I
and
am,
I've got a lot of Waits stuff on my list over the years. But yeah, this one I wasn't quite as high on as you. I'm not nearly as high on as you. But I respect it. I know a lot of people love it. My third pick, they were my number 1 pick in a previous year. I don't want to give it away, but I just did. The Sundays, Blind.
Wow, okay.
Great follow-up to the Read and Write and Arithmetic, the album that I called number 1. there was a little delay between reading, writing, and arithmetic in this album because of a couple of things. One, the record company went broke.
Okay.
So that's always a problem.
Yeah, that's going to throw a wrench in
And
things.
two, they had some management problems. They just decided they were going to manage themselves. Well,
Oh, all
you
right.
know, that caused some issues too. So this went to 15 in the UK. It's kind of a darker dream pop than Reading was. But just like Reading, it's so consistent. I don't even know if there's a standout track, but Harriet is once again just bringing on this album. And I just love the vibe and atmosphere of it.
I gotta check. I mean, I still haven't checked out
know, I
Reading,
can't
Writing,
believe-
and Arithmetic. So
What's going
if
on?
you put them on
I pick
again.
it as my number one album of the year, and you don't listen to it. All right, now I'm going with Ride, Going Blank again. Second studio album, 5 in the UK. They recorded 25 songs, only 10 made the album. And I think most of the time, that's a good recipe for a great album because I got 25 things to choose from. I can narrow it down to 10. Great follow-up to Nowhere, which was on my 1990 list.
Yeah,
We
that's a
Them
good
All,
record.
We Them All Behind is great. Twisterella also
Yep.
a standout. Works really well. This group, I think, because you got Andy Bell and you got Mark Gardner, and they trade off lead vocals. Sometimes they share lead vocals, and I think that really gives you a nice, diverse sound. So going with Ride. What do you got next?
I like that, man. Yeah, Ride's a great group that
They are.
discovered through this. And going back to a debut here, we're going to go Tori Amos,
All right.
Little Earthquakes, man. Charted solidly on both sides of the pond. I think it went to around 60-ish here in the States. But, man, Tori, on top of her wonderful lyricism, the arrangements on this record are great. Kind of reminds me of 80s era Kate Bush. Piano is the star instrument on here on the majority of the tracks. And yet again, just the lyricism on here, the storytelling is quite powerful. It points. The album's maybe a little bit front loaded. You got the big hit, of course, Crucify,
Great
which
song.
starts the record. Precious Things. The orchestral driven Winter is good. And then there's an a cappella penultimate track, Me and a Gun, which is one of the most powerful tunes you hear as Tori details a rape that she experienced, man. So a heavy listen, and just shows that Tori using the power of music for healing, and I'm sure affected a lot of people in similar situations. So great record right here. Definitely go check that out. And I'm gonna switch gears entirely, switch languages as my last pick right here. There was a lot of
I did
albums
not
in
even know these
contention.
guys. Yeah.
But it's going to be an Argentinian group, Soda Stereo, with the record Dynamo. And they're, if you kind of, I didn't know these guys, but I saw on some of the lists for this year that this record popped up. So I was like, I got to check it out. Search them. They're, kind of legends in Argentina in the music scene, man. And this was quite experimental for them, from what I could tell at the time. Very shoegaze-like. So if you dig Loveless by My Bloody Valentine, if you like Slow Dive's work, and even Ride, I think you're going to really enjoy this, man. A lot of ethereal atmospheres that, just kind of take you to another world. And even though I didn't understand a word that was being said lyrically, due to the language barrier, it didn't matter, man. The guitar work was fantastic. And shout out to Gustavo Cerati, who passed away around a decade ago, but he is the singer and guitarist on this, and really is the MVP, man. So really go check that one out if shoegaze is anything on your radar.
All right, man. Well, now I'm going to finish with the Church Priest equals Aura, 8th album from the Australian group. They were using opium throughout this recording sessions, except for leader Steve Kilby. He was using opium and heroin, so it heavily influences. Album opener is Aura. It's a standout, but once again, remarkably consistent album. Now, this thing's over an hour long. As we haven't really touched on this, but in the 90s, man, it's a CD era, and albums are long, both lengthwise and song-wise, so you got to buckle up during this period of time, but did definitely enjoy that from the Church. We're taking this thing worldwide here with our picks here.
I was going to say, a
RTTC.
little bit of everything, man.
Now we'll go with our honorable mentions real quick. We got Henry's Dream from Nick Cave.
Right.
Slanted and Enchanted, Pavement's
Like me some
masterpiece.
Pavement.
Harvest Moon, Neil Young,
Yeah.
Uncle Neil coming back to the forefront in 92. Down Colorful Hill from the Red House Painters. I have a feeling you're going to hear more from the Red House Painters in upcoming
Little Mark
lists.
Kozelek action.
Little Mark Kozley. And then Cure Wish, who has maybe my favorite song, A Letter to Elise, from The Cure on there.
Yeah, that Cure record was on my short list, as
It's
was.
just long.
Oh, yeah.
It's long.
As was Ice Cube's record, The Predator, again, continuing his 3-album run in the 90s, which was fantastic. Of course, Dr. Dre with The Chronic, getting that G-Funk going on, so influential in hip-hop at that time. Sublime, 40 Ounces to Freedom. Shane will enjoy the shout-out
Yes, he
there.
will.
Sade's Love Deluxe.
Wow.
Like that more than Diamond Life. actually. And then Katie Lang and Genuine, another really good, strong singer-songwriter record right there. So overall, I think a pretty strong year, in my opinion at least, because
I agree.
Automatic for the People would have been, in my top 5 if you hadn't taken it. None of your others would have been. That's because I only have heard the Ride one. So I got some listening to do myself here, Dad, from what you chose. And let us know your favorites from 1992, and be sure to come back here, man. For next week, we'll be on to 1993, which is yet again a year with some legendary records.
It is for sure. And if you'd like to support us in any way, check out the Patreon link below, the Patreon link on the end screen. Patrons make this thing work. And also, if you're a patron, you can vote on a listening party. Once a month, we do a listening party. We pick a winner from each year, the patrons do, and then they pick a winner out of that, and that's what we roll with.
No, sounds like a plan. And so until next time, thanks for watching, happy listening, and we will see you.